Okay, welcome back everybody to another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. Once again, I am your boy Cristian, and today, we're going to be talking about basically the roster. So basically today, the Houston Dynamo, obviously, waiting until the last minute to drop all these names on us. And basically, I guess they turned it into the league on Monday, according to shout out to Foxtrot. But of course, we got it on Wednesday. So here we are. We have names. We're going to go ahead and go through them. But before we go through the names, I wanted to do something that I've been wanting to do since the end of the season. And with Thanksgiving just kind of went by last week, I'm feeling a little thankful, I guess. So I wanted to thank a couple people that I had in mind just because of, what they done for me, I guess, this year. So I have a couple names, and then, just a thank you. And that's why this is probably going to suck if you're watching the video. But I have all my badges for this year. I have them on to, kind of slight flex, and to also represent as a thank you, basically, to all these people that kind of helped me out this year to be in the position that I am today when it comes to my podcast and thinking about doing some bigger things, with the content, with the channel, and all stuff like that. So thank you to them, and I'm going to go ahead and just read some names that I wrote down. I apologize if I miss anybody, but, these are the people that kind of came to mind in the beginning. So, also, by the way, if you see me staring into something different, is because I have the Seattle game against FC Frisco going on in the background. Obviously, he's a mute, but, we're watching it, keeping an eye on competition, for next year. So, from the Houston Dynamo FC organization, from the football club that we all love, I want to thank a couple people that this year I have met. Of course, because today, this year was my first year being a part of a media member and being, going basically all into this podcast. So I want to thank Zach Emmons. All these people work for the Dynamo. So, if you don't know who they are, it's because you probably don't know who they are. And I just met them this year. So, and they've been nice to me. So, the least that I can do is at least shout them out, So a lot of the colleagues, or a lot of the people that go to the games, you might know them. So if they don't see this, and if you hear this, just, tell them I said thank you, I guess, from me. But Zach Emmons, he's always there. He's always he's the kind of like the go-to guy when you go to the Dynamo games. Edgar Veliz, who is the main guy when it comes to communications between players and, us, the media. So Edgar Veliz, Paloma a la Torre. I was going to say it very white, but obviously you were very Hispanic. So Paloma a la Torre, thank you because you're always nice. I haven't talked to you, probably just hi bye, but you always were nice. Dorian Valenzuela, also another Hispanic name that I pronounce it like a white person. Dorian Valenzuela, thank you for always being nice. He's usually the translator. Whenever, some of the players that don't know how to speak English, he translates from Spanish to English, which is very, very hard to say the least. And he does a fantastic job. Honestly, I mean, not to blow smoke up your butt or whatever, or maybe there's a nicer terminology, but you the way you translate, is very on point. Honestly, and coming from a guy that hates when people translate, I'm always watching movies. And I watch it with subtitles, and I'm like, that's not what they're saying. But it is what it is. And then the last person that I have the least communication with, but she's always there and just a hi bye type of deal. Valerie Holland, which is also part of community relations and stuff like that, and she's always doing stuff for the community. So shout out to her. She was actually out here helping out Zarek Valentin. Kind of gather some goods and stuff like that they were going to donate. So shout out to Sarah Valentin. Also, if you haven't, go to his page. He's collecting funds and stuff like that, or even food. They did a food drive. to give to the food bank and stuff like that. And also, of course, I could not leave out basically the people that kind of brought me into this, that kind of gave me a platform, kind of gave me a space to work with. And those are three people. These three people are the main three people that are the most active when it comes to Dynamo Theory. But yeah, shout out to, I guess you can say, my Dynamo Theory family, since I'm part of, the group. I'm probably the least experienced one when it comes to technology or when it comes to talking football. But they're really nice guys, and they're always, we're always chatting during the games, and basically 99.99999% of everything that you read is probably one of these guys. That 0.00001% is probably me, that I already did contribute in my 1.000% in the beginning, and it was probably terrible writing. But they're the writers, they're editors and writers and stuff like that. So they manage Dynamo Theory. So shout out to Dustin Richardson, who is the managing editor. I think that's what you call the title. He's one of the main guys, basically. And then Derek Stowers, who is he does a lot of also the game reviews, the game recaps and stuff like that. So if you ever read a game recap, it's probably Dustin or Derek. And funny enough, Dustin, I used to call him Dusty for the longest time. And then the other guy that he usually does mostly the dash, and he keeps up with the dash a lot more than all the other guys, even though the other guys do, and probably more than me as well, is Theo Hudges. And I also wrote down their club, I guess. I don't know why, but we're all Houston sports fans. But Dustin is a Manchester United fan, so shout out to all the United fans. Derek is a Chelsea fan, shout out to all the Blues. And then Theo is a QPR, so a Rangers, Queen Park Rangers fan, shout out to the Rangers, I guess. And then Theo does a podcast with his sister, and is all about women's soccer and the dash and stuff like that. And it's called you could have made it harder for me, bro. Relatively, what I mean, relatively football, and that is a terrible name for me to say, but it's a good name because they're relatives, and they talk about football. So just go to Theo Hughes. I don't know, bro. You kill me with the names. Hughes, Hughes, I guess. So yeah. But yeah, thank you to them because they were able to give me the space for me to upload my my podcast. And whenever you hear the podcast, you hear it in the Dynamo Theory feed. I don't know why I move my hand so much. So thank you again for the opportunity to be part of the team, I guess. I say I guess because sometimes I don't feel like I contribute as much as you guys do. But yeah, thank you for the support and the support. That sounded weird. And for letting me have a piece of the platform that it is Dynamo Theory, which is fans for fans. So if you're listening and you're wondering what is this Dynamo Theory, it's basically some dudes that love, Houston Dynamo, that love the dash, and we put out really good content, dedicated to the fans from us fans. So dynamotheory.com, and then Dynamo Theory on Twitter and stuff like that. So go follow Dynamo Theory. So yeah. So shout out to them. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for all the help. Thank you for all the love. And now let's get to the good stuff. That was good stuff too, right? But let's get to these names that are either going out or kind of staying, right? So we have exercised. It sounds weird. Exercise the right or something like that. Whatever they said. Exercise contract options. I didn't bring a cup of water and I'm dying. I think I'm gonna steal my daughter's cup. Hold on. Oh, she barely has any water. Oh, that was terrible. But there's some names that we decided not to keep them. Just basically just, go home. We don't need you anymore, basically type of thing. And some of the names, so like just because we didn't exercise their contract doesn't mean that they're not going to come back. Some of them are not going to come back, and some of them might still try to like win a spot, or maybe they're trying to like rebuild their contracts. But as of now, they're basically not in contract with the Houston Dynamo. And these people are Kyle Adams, and also as I go, I am going to kind of talk about them, and maybe give a like a second option of maybe what could happen with them, in my personal opinion, of course. And right now, Seattle's attacking, so we're gonna see Morris. He's a really good player. Never mind. But yeah, Kyle Adams, 24-year-old center back. I think personally he's probably gonna end up back in RGV. Just because we don't keep him here in Houston doesn't mean that RGV might not use him. So I think he's a young guy, and he has played in RGV for a while. So I think most likely, I believe he's probably going to end up in RGV. And who knows, maybe in the future he'll get another chance to play for the first team. But, we'll see how this new year basically comes up. But what had happened was that, we didn't get to see him enough this year because with the coronavirus and stuff like that, it was almost impossible for players to be loaned out from Dynamo to RGV and RGV to Dynamo. So it wasn't that free pass or free market, whatever you call it, of loans that, every week they would exercise, fully, where they would send guys, almost every other weekend or every weekend to go play in RGV and then come train here, back and forth. Unfortunately, whenever this year, whatever we decided to keep, that's what we kept. And they weren't able to go back and play in RGV. They had to like sit here the whole year basically because of coronavirus and stuff like that. And that was the case for Kyle Adams. Fortunately, he seemed like a really good, promise player. He had a few minutes, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of the year. And then it just kind of went downhill for him. He just didn't have enough. There's a lot of people competing in those spots, at that time. So he wasn't able to get enough minutes to kind of show off. And the times that he did, it wasn't that as great. So maybe, a 24-year-old kid, he's still young. Hopefully he ends up in RGV, and hopefully, one day he gets to make it, to the bigger leagues and, become a regular, I guess. So, yeah, obviously it's good. Like, I have goodwill for these players because I feel like they were part of my family. So I don't hate them, or, some people, they're like, fuck this guy, whatever. I don't feel that type of animosity to any of these, but even sometimes, even the ones that I don't like, football wise, but it is what it is. Victor Cabrera, 27-year-old. The only reason I wrote down their ages is because Tab Ramos has talked about now hundreds of times of how he wants a physical, young, strong team. Basically, he wants a young team, kind of like a mix of some experienced players, but he wants a young team. And I'm writing down their ages because I want to see who is, who he could keep, because age-wise and what they could give to the team. So Victor Cabrera, 27, he's like right there, should be at his peak basically, soccer-wise. 27 years old is extremely young still. That's crazy. He's 27, I'm 28, and yeah, never mind. But Victor Cabrera, unfortunately, he has been probably one of our best players, and also at the same time, he has been really injury prone in the previous years. So that's probably the only thing that kind of is going against him. If he was a player that hasn't had that in the past, he didn't have too many injuries, maybe he would have like for sure won a spot in that center back position. But I think the only reason he's still in that status of like, we don't know if we want to keep you yet, is because of his injuries. Even though he's really, really good and he's a very solid player in the back, and he kind of fits a little bit better than maybe Kiki Struna that we are keeping into this style of play that Tab Ramos wants. Fortunately, with those injuries, it just kind of turns out to be kind of iffy. But also he frees up an international spot, so I guess that's a plus of not having him. Next we go to Cody Cropper, which was our second goalie as of this list. Don't know much about the guy. He didn't play any games, 0 minutes. He looks like a really nice guy. Nothing against him, nothing for him. We don't know him. He looks like a cool dude. So if he stays, hopefully he gets time to play. Hopefully there's a U.S. Open chance where he could stay and play. And if not, we wish him the best for the future of his career, or wherever it may be. Tomas Martinez, 25-year-old, DP, international spot. No, actually not international spot because he got his green card. But I think it's about time we let that train pass. And I'm going to go ahead and throw Ronaldo Peña on top of that. I think, as a two, buy one, get two type of thing. Buy one, get one free. Even though Tomas Martinez is 25, Ronaldo Peña is 23. Ronaldo Peña is one of those players that a lot of people are putting on, well, actually both of them are putting on Matt Jordan, that we still don't know his future. But those are the two players that are supposed to be diamonds in the rough. And I think we are still in the process of polishing one side, but like the full 360 of the diamond hasn't been polished yet. And unfortunately, we can't wait anymore. We can't wait any longer. The Dynamo has been the worst team on the West Coast, on the Western Conference, and we can't be going out with players that are partially polished. We need players that are ready to play. We need players that are ready to go out. We need players that are going to give us the money that requires to be a DP and the money that requires to take a full international spot. We didn't see anything from Peña. We saw the minimum, the basic out of Martinez for the past few years. So I think it's time we move on from them too. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and they're gonna have to grow somewhere else basically. Michael Salazar, he seems like a nice dude. Came from RGV. Unfortunately, he got injuries, and also he's trying to compete for a number 9 spot where Manotas and Cristian Ramirez kind of claimed it. Number 1 and number 2, even though they had a shitty year as well. But Michael Salazar, he seems like a nice dude. He came from RGV. Hopefully he goes back to RGV and gets to prove himself once more. But as for now, I'm okay with him going back to RGV. Wilfer Sahibo, 27 years old, international. Kind of dealt with some injuries. Also the new guy. Have no idea why he came into the team. Well, I mean, we know why. He came into the team to kind of help out Vera. But I think nobody expected what's his face? Darwin Seren was already playing really good. But I think everybody thought he was going to be a bigger plus. He's going to bring us a little bit more soccer, a little bit more, contención, a little bit more, of ball possession in that midfield. And unfortunately, we haven't seen him play that much. So in the times that he played, it was he's just a regular player. So it wasn't too much to see, too much to have from him. So I'm okay with that, and he also frees up a international spot. So it is what it is from him. Minor Figueroa. So these 3 people, Minor Figueroa, Bonia Garcia, and Nico Henson, they ran out of their contract basically. So I think they're still in a year, kind of figure stuff out. I mean, honestly, most of these players, not all of them, but some of these players are probably still working stuff out. But they're most likely out than in. But for example, Nico Henson, he has an offer on the table, which makes him ineligible for a draft, whatever. Draft. The MLS is it's crazy when it comes to all these things. I don't even know why we still use NFL terms for this shit, but it is what it is. We are the United States, and we do everything backwards or different. So Nico Henson has an offer on the table, which means that you can't be picked up by anybody else, I guess, until he denies it, just kind of cancels it out, or gets another offer from another team or some shit. I don't know. I think he should stay. He from his first year to his second year, he improved a shitload. I should probably stop cursing. He improved a lot, and he has done really, really well. I mean, I think there's still room for him to grow, but I think he was a really good, important piece. He wasn't Ellis, but he was Nico Henson. I think he played, the way he knows how to play, and I think we got a good amount of juice out of him. And hopefully, if he keeps, growing or same level or more, I think he'll be a good, important piece in our team. So hopefully, Nico Henson stays for at least another year to kind of try out, what Tab Ramos has in mind. Also, earlier in the week, we found out that Ari Lassiter, via somebody else, we found out, through his previous club, that he was bought completely. His whatever contract, whatever clause, because he was on loan. So we completely bought him. Now he's a fully fledged Dynamo FC player. It's still kind of weird saying Dynamo FC, but whatever. We gotta get used to it, I guess. So he's a new Dynamo player for sure. So now we're gonna have 3 players that are gonna be competing for those outside positions. We're gonna have Wachamich, who is probably 9 times out of 10 will be a starter. And then between Nico Henson, he's probably going to be a backup most likely if he stays. And then this kid, Ari Lassiter, he's probably going to play on the left side or the right side, however they figure that out. And then the other 2 that also are not being renewed, I guess, as of now, is Maynard Figueroa, which is completely understandable because Tab Brown was talking about, going younger. He's a 37-year-old veteran. He's the lowest player paid on the team. Lowest paid player in the team, but he was probably one of the hardest working, or he is actually one of the hardest working players on the team, because I've heard it from Tab Ramos himself saying that sometimes he has to tell him to stop in practice because he's going so hard. So, bro, I'm just scared right now because, okay, I thought I wasn't recording. My bad, familia. I thought I wasn't recording for the podcast. My bad. Okay, keep going. Might have figured out what I would do personally myself if I had the power. If I was Matt Jordan, but better looking. Shout out to Matt Jordan. I would renew him just for another year and then just see as it goes. Have him on a year basis. I know he's 37. He is at the end of his career, but I think he brings that experience and he brings a little bit of huevos that we might need in the backfield, especially when we're still kind of like in limbo when it comes to like trying to get somebody for the back. And then unfortunately, tears coming down my, rolling down my face. Bonnie Garcia, 36-year-old dude, always consistent, always a good player, always gave it his all. I think he's always been better every year. He has never decreased, at least in my opinion, to what I've seen from him. He seems to kind of been going up. Like Is It Tuesday? If you know the song, keep singing it. If you don't know, then I apologize. But yeah, Bonnie Garcia, if he doesn't make it as a player, we need to keep him as a freaking statue or something. Like, we need to have him as a like good luck charm type of thing. I don't know, make him a kit man, or just give him free tickets to show up to games or something. Be like, hey, just dress up, and if we need you, we call you. If we don't, then just come in as a spectator or whatever. Just have him in the stands just in case. I think Bonnie Garcia is just like, is one of those legends, club legends that we're always gonna like, keep dear to our hearts. He's gonna be one of those that we're like, in 30 years from now, we're gonna tell people how Bonnie Garcia resembled that. I don't know. We're gonna have like something named after him. I don't know, some type of like door entrance or stands or something like that. We're gonna have a Bonnie Garcia something. But he's a legendary Dynamo player. That dude, probably you cut him, he probably bleeds orange or something. But yeah, it's just kind of sad. It's one of those things that you don't want it's like seeing Maradona die. You know, it's one of those things that you know it's gonna happen someday, but you don't want it to happen, and it just kind of happens. Then another person that it's kind of working out his contract is Bisama. They're working out his contract. Then those are basically all the players that are kind of like on their way out or kind of working stuff out. And then who are we keeping? I'm kind of excited for the names because most of these players we haven't seen them play, but Darwin Serem we actually have, so we already know what he's going to bring to the table. So I'm really excited to see Darwin Serem and just see him grow. Alejandro Fuenmayor, you know, Tab wants to go younger. I think Alejandro Fuenmayor is going to be one of those young guys that he kind of wants for the future. You know, he's a center back. Let me see how young he is. He's 24 years old, so he's pretty young. So we'll see how that goes. Sam Jukwa, I think the breakout player of the year. You know, he did what he was asked to do basically, and he did a good job at it. I think we want to see more of Sam Jukwa, and we want to see him grow. So hopefully Sam Jukwa gets more opportunities, and he gets to grow more as a player. I heard he's a nice dude, so as a person, I guess you can still grow, I guess, always, right? Nico Lemoine, we saw glimpses of Nico Lemoine. I don't think we saw the full picture of Nico Lemoine, but he's still young. He's a young kid. I think he's what, 18? So Nico Lemoine still has a bright future. Hopefully we get to see him a lot more, and hopefully we get to see freaking Palomino a lot more, who's also coming back as well. So Palomino, Nico Lemoine, I think are the future of this club. So hopefully we get to see him more with this upcoming year. Adam Lunzvisk, I'm never gonna pronounce his name right. So Lundy, shout out to Lundy. He's actually one of my favorite players. A lot of people don't like him. I don't know why. I think he's always given his all. He has made mistakes like we all do as defenders and as forwards or midfielders or whatever. But I think Adam Lundy is going to be a great player for a team to a great leader. Hopefully he becomes one of those leaders that we need in the back four. Eric McHugh, defender. We obviously haven't seen him, but hopefully with a U.S. Open Cup, we get to see a little bit more of him, and hopefully he's still a young kid. I think also in his either late teens or early 20s, but no more than 21, 22. So he's still a young guy. So hopefully we get to see more of McHugh. Goalkeeper Michael Nelson, same thing there. He's a young goalkeeper. So hopefully we get to see him in those U.S. Open games. And then Matias Vera, I think there's enough said with Matias Vera. He has been probably our MVP 2 years in a row. This year probably a little bit more Darwin Seren or Darwin Quinteros as well. But Matias has been our captain. He has been very consistent almost every single game. He has been the player of the match, if not one of the players of the match. So shout out to him. I don't know why he did this for him, but shout out to him. And then we go in under contract into this new season with Matteo Wachamich, that unfortunately we didn't get to see play, but we know he's killing it in Argentina still. So hopefully he comes in and kills it this 2021 here in the Houston Dynamo. Juan Castilla, a 15-year-old kid. Who knows if we're going to see him on the pitch, but hopefully if he doesn't get to play with the Dynamo, he hopefully gets some time in RGV or somewhere, the U.S. Open Cup. Hopefully this year, 2021, we get to see a U.S. Open Cup because that showcases a lot of our younger guys. So hopefully that works. Defender Ian Hoffman, we probably get to see him this year. Who knows? But Hoffman is also one of those guys that is supposed to be a promising rising star. And we got him from Europe. And that was basically a straight pick from Tab Ramos himself. And I've been trusting Ramos in his picks. So I have my faith in him. Goalkeeper Marco Maric, who had a pretty decent year. Mauro Manotas, who is coming to hopefully, I'm over here praising Jesus because I need him to have a breakout year, a good year. Because obviously we know what happened. This year wasn't his year. It was a terrible year for him. There was probably some personal stuff to what I've heard. I don't know. So hopefully this year he comes out with a vendetta to kill it and to put the Dynamo back on the map, basically, when it comes to scoring. We're tired of creating chances and not putting it in the back of the net. Darwin Quinteros, who I'm okay with. I mean, he's obviously one of our best players that we have. But, you know, he's not my cup of tea. But I can also recognize that he's a great player and that we probably need him a lot because he was our best player, most valuable player this past year. Cristian Ramirez, also same case as Manotas. They need to come out hungry and just score as many goals. I understand that, you know, maybe Tab Ramos has Mauro Manotas as his number 1, number 9, but I think, and I want Cristian Ramirez to come out with a freaking, and I'm not saying that he doesn't, but, you know, I want him to be, you know, fighting for the number 9 spot and wanting, of course, I know he wants to start, but, you know, I want to see more of him the same way I wanted to see more of Manotas. I want to be there, a very nice competitive number 9 competition, and because that can only mean that our Houston Dynamo is going to be scoring goals, and scoring goals usually translates to winning games, and not to points and not to trophies. So let's do it. And then Danny Rios, another kid that has been came in from, you know, from the bottom. Now he's on top. So hopefully we get to see more of Danny Rios. And then Memo Rodriguez, the God, coming in with balls of steel, fighting. Now he has a kid, so hopefully that gives him more inspiration. Or he doesn't have it yet, but he will soon. So hopefully he gets inspired and brings more goals and brings more power. Kike Struna, I think we are all kind of like, we need you to redeem yourself from an season. You know, it wasn't even all right. It was because at the end of the season, you weren't even playing, bro. Like, you missed like the last 4 games, which is unacceptable from an international experience, you know, player that supposedly played in Italy and all this and that. So we need Kike Struna to come out strong and to like show us and shut the fuck everybody up, basically. That's what he basically needs to do. Like, with that mentality and that bad language, you know, just come and shut everybody up. And then, of course, the men of the people, Cedric Valentin. I think that dude is a fucking, not probably fucking angel, is probably an oxymoron. But I think that dude deserves a statue everywhere he goes. He seems to be the nicest guy and the coolest guy, and he has really good kicks. I'm still waiting on my shoes from Cedric Valentin, so hopefully one day he'll listen to this and he'll be like, you know what? Let me go to my closet, look at my 300 pairs of shoes. Cristian, you wear a 10.5 like I do. Hopefully he wears 10.5 or 10. And here are a pair of Nikes. They're yours. So Cedric Valentin, no pressure, but it would be nice. But yeah, shout out to Cedric Valentin. He's always doing good for the community. People in Portland told us, you know, he was going to be, he's a great guy. And I think he has proven himself, not only, raising money and funds and food for homeless people or for the Houston Food Bank, but, you know, also talking to cancer patients and doing really nice things for them. And always being the coolest guy when it comes to, like, interviews and stuff like that. So, shout out to him. But other than that, we have 6 international players that were returned from the 2020 season, and more than half of the players, 13, are on the current roster, are 25 years or younger, including 6 Dynamo Academy alums. So obviously, we are looking young. We still need some vital pieces for this team to, like, be complete. I think we might need a good, strong center back. I have a feeling Cedric Valentin is going to end up playing center back, but who knows? But that would be cool because then, I mean, he's still kind of like a captain. He has that captain soul, but I think being a center back kind of gives you a little bit more of a captain role just because you're able to see the field, you know, from the back. But yeah, I forgot what to say. Oh yeah, we're young. We're young. We need a couple more players, maybe a center back, maybe another somebody to help Matias Vera out, you know, with Darwin Seren and with Sahiwo going out and Boni most likely going out. We need somebody to help, become the perfect trio there, if anything, or just kind of, give them a hand here and there. So, I'm not asking for much. I'm a simple guy, but, other people want more. But what we need for sure, like, no BS. I was going to say no cap, which I have no idea how to use that terminology. We need a winning team. We are tired of missing playoffs. I think everybody has seen it or heard it. We have missed 6 out of the last 7 or 7 out of the last 8. I don't even know anymore because it's been so goddamn many. But we need to become a winning team. We need to play in the top. We need to play Houston on the map. And we are tired of losing, or we are tired of tying. And we are tired of watching the MLS playoffs from home. And we are tired of every November just sitting home doing nothing. We want to see Dynamo games on TV till the end of time, and till the MLS Cup, and till the MLS Cup championships, and winning trophies. And I think we deserve it. I think we have really good players. I think our club is becoming a better club as overall, and I think we can do it. So with that being said, I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you again to everybody that has helped my channel, or I guess whatever, grow. Thank you for listening on Dynamo Theory to the podcast or watching the videos. I really appreciate it. 2021 is going to be better. It's going to be bigger. We're going to go to away games. We're going to do vlogs. We're going to do a bunch of crap. Hopefully get better. And hopefully we bring a cup. I still told Memo Rodriguez, we win a cup. I'm dyeing my hair blonde. So I want to dye my hair blonde. I've never had. I actually don't want to, but I'm willing to sacrifice my head, my beautiful head of hair, for the Houston Dynamo. So I'll even go orange if I have to. Probably not, because I'll probably get divorced. But I'll go yellow, But yeah, QuattroQuattroDos. See you guys. Have a good night. Have a good, I was going to say breakfast. But if you are eating breakfast, have a good breakfast. Goodbye.